Tonight.
I'm great tonight. I'm excited about talking about the first show that I get to introduce. And that first show is Jerry Springer, as you said, the opera.
Yeah.
And it is operatic, let's put it that way. Right. It is a musical in operatic form. In 2 acts. The first act is absolutely a Jerry Springer show. And we're part of the audience at the show.
Right, and so is most of the cast when they're not being on stage.
Right, the cast takes up the entire first 2 rows of the...
And it's typical Jerry Springer fare. I'm having an affair...
How do you know what's typical Jerry Springer fare is? How many Jerry Springer shows have you actually watched?
All right, admittedly, not that many, but then again, who actually admits to watching Jerry Springer?
I watched one today.
One
to
today,
make sure,
one, okay.
To make sure, and boy, did they nail it. As crazy as they were on stage, the show is even crazier.
This is my Jerry Springer moment. I don't want this moment to die. So dip me in chocolate and throw me to the lesbians. I don't want this moment to die.
Haven't seen your best friend, your best friend, your best friend, but baby, I love you.
Okay, let's bring on Peach's best friend. Please welcome Sandra.
Dirty whore, filthy, dirty, manky, skanky, slut whore. That is of no concern, though it was not what I deserve. I merely come to take you down to hell where you will serve.
Yeah, I don't want to serve in hell because at this stage of my career, that would be a sideways move.
If there's a large lady who wants to be a pole dancer, there's actually a little thing in the montage opening of a large lady being a pole dancer. They must have,
the actual Springer show.
On the actual Springer show. And the wonderful Terrence Mann is brought in to play
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. And he does a wonderful job because Jerry Springer is this little island of somewhat sanity in the middle of all the insanity that goes on around him. And that's the first act. And there's a little subplot in that. I mean, each of the people has their own little problem. But there's the guy who's the warm-up comic. And the warm-up comic has aspirations of taking over Jerry's job, or at least becoming going on camera more.
And he believes that he's Jerry's BBF.
Yes, he believes that Jerry really cares about him. And when he finds out that he's not, he becomes something very different in the second act.
Right.
And the second act is Jerry goes to hell, basically.
Well, Jerry, and he has to mediate dispute between the devil, Jesus, God, and Adam and Eve.
That's quite a dispute.
And just when and if you thought Jerry Springer couldn't get any more outrageous than a typical Jerry Springer show or the first act, you're right, because the second act really just doesn't work as well as the first act.
Well,
when they're doing the Jerry Springer we know and love.
Yeah.
It really, I hate to say it, but I really had a good time.
No, so did I.
this.
But the wonderful thing about the second act is Will Swenson as the devil.
Okay.
He walks away with the show. He is. I've never seen him better or sexier, and I've seen him in a lot of shows. And I love Will Swenson, and I was mesmerized by him as the devil.
Tell Leslie to go to the devil. We know who she's going to choose.
In a red suit, and I'm going to have to fight his lovely wife for him. Yes, I know how that goes. But anyway, it's a wonderful cast. The rest of them are people I don't know. We may see them again. We may not.
Will.
But a lot of semi-operatic voices. The show was directed by John Rando. It was designed by Derek McLean. Both of them did an absolutely stellar job. And I have to say a special shout out to Sarah Lowe, Laux, who did the costume design. And boy, was she spot on with those costumes. The large ladies sort of hanging out of their dresses, you know.
Yes.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yes. And even the transvestite or transgender, I don't know what he was, who was having an affair with the guy who was having an affair with his fiance, who was also having an affair with his fiance's best friend. I mean, oh my goodness.
But the costumes were just
and
terrific.
hell just can't compete with that.
And this is in this small space at the Signature, where you know I think we also saw Sweet Charity in the same
with Sutton
space,
Foster.
and they've done wonderful things with setting it out so that for the audience. I'm so happy that they're doing musicals there.
Now, who wrote this? Wrote this show? This was
two guys I've never heard of before, but I'm sure that we will hear about them again. Richard Thomas and Stuart Lee, not that Richard Thomas,
okay.
And Stuart Lee. And this show, of course, has been around kicking around for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
It was done in a concert reading of it
Right.
here. It was done full out in the West End and was very successful over there. But of course, they don't really know Jerry Springer, and I don't know whether we really know Jerry Springer.
Well, I would imagine if they're watching it in London, they must think, oh, this has to be totally fictional.
Well, yes, or look at those Americans, there they go again.
Really,
you know, that kind of thing.
Listen, you wonder what kind of person wants to go on that show.
Well, obviously, duh. What kind of people? I mean, they can't wait to fight. They start in. They are ready to go.
Well, they know what's expected of them now.
Evidently, yes, that's true.
And they want their 15 minutes.
Or 15 seconds, whichever comes first.
Yes.
What would you give this?
Well, embarrassingly, I would give it 3.75.
Oh, unabashedly, I would give it 4.5, and I'd really almost give it 5 just for Will Swenson.
I don't think I was disappointed with the second act. It really.
I understand it was disappointing, but for the first act alone, and then as I say, for Will Swenson,
first act was fabulous.
You know.